Hi everybody, welcome to Speak Up Monday, back here, Tropical Nomad, 6:30 every Monday, as you know, and this is we're very close to episode number 200, and here's the thing, right? So this beautiful man here, Akil Wade, now we haven't even spoken for longer than 2 minutes at all, right?
Right.
But we had a chat like that, 30 seconds, some weeks ago, and we spoke about Speak Up Monday, and you said, it'd be great to be on the show.
Right.
And without even knowing you or your story, but just picking up on your energy and vibe, it was like, well, of course.
Of course.
So here we are now.
When you know, you just know.
When you know, you just know, right? And so tonight we're going to talk about Black Kids Travel.
Yep. Talking about the
Blacksheep, which I'm really looking forward to. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, Speak Up Monday is a deep dive Q&A, which goes to the heart of the matter, right? It's a deep dive. It's open format. Nothing is set up or rehearsed. There's no questions written down that I'm going to ask. It all comes from here or from here and comes in here. And the best part is that you can be part of the studio audience every week, 6:30. We're here, Tropical Nomad, in this room, which I don't think there's a name for it yet. It's like indoor, outdoor, best of both worlds, right? Might as well call it the indoor, outdoor room, for want of a better term. So my name is Wayan Bonnick. I am your host, and as you know, I help tourism boards and operators, right, create more inbound tourism for Bali, right? That's my role in all of this. So, brother, first things first, what is Blacksheep? What do you mean by Blacksheep? And Black Kids Travel? Where did it start? I know it looks like blogging with a serious commitment to local empowerment. That's from what I see. But there isn't that much online that I could even find, even if I wanted to work out what it is. So let us know what it is and how it started.
Okay. So it's the community of Black Sheep. And it actually started in Los Angeles, California. I'm originally from America. I live here in Bali now with my team.
Yep.
There we go. So I live here in Bali with my team now, and we started in Los Angeles. And we just wanted to make a community of people that felt like the Black Sheep. So felt like the outsider. I know in Russia or the Eastern culture, they say like the white crow. But people that feel like that they've always been a little different and feel like an outsider, we just want to flip the narrative. So that's the summary of what it is.
Love it. And through kind of which means and processes do you bring people together? Right. And when you are together, I get the Black Sheep thing. When you are together, like what sorts of things are you doing? Is there a mission? Is there a goal? Is there an aim?
Right, so we are innovating, we're inspiring. So we innovate, we have a project actually here called Innovate Indonesia, which we're giving back to the locals and showing that it's not just about giving money, but more of our services and our time with the kids. So that's one project we're working on, but it's just a community of like-minded individuals that like to come together and make the world a better place. So that's the best way to put it. And it's unorthodox. It's not like anything else. It's a whole bunch of cool kids from America, from Czech Republic, from Australia that come together and just hang with each other and just do cool, dope things along the way. Film content. We also do agency where we help people build with social media marketing and to make their brands bigger. So it's a lot of fun, cool things that we do. Just having a lot of creative people come together and bring all their talents.
Love it. Love it. And why did you do it? Like, I know the Black Sheep, and you started in LA, but like, what's the big why? I get that, we're trying to bring these guys, but was there something, kind of like within you that felt that you had to do this, that you had to reach out to those people who were like you, who didn't fit in, who weren't part of the 9 to 5, who wasn't part of the general like fabric of humankind, right? Which is in this hypnotic state, exactly. Right? Just doing the doing. So was there a driving why behind?
So my biggest why is when I first started off, I started with a guy named Eric Thomas. He's a motivational speaker, well known in America. And I was traveling around with this guy and I was holding a camera. And along the journey, I seen how everybody was treating him, and everybody was looking up to him, thinking he's different. But we were from Michigan originally, from Detroit, Michigan, and it's not really too pretty around there. I mean, the people are beautiful. It makes tough people. It's really cold outside, but there's a lot of people that never traveled before. But I was blessed to have the opportunity to get around and travel, and we've seen so many different opportunities traveling, and wanted to bring it to light. So I feel like from traveling and learning how to make income while traveling, we just thought it was just right to replicate it, to show more people.
Yeah. So Eric Thomas, I know him. As in, I don't know him, but I know his work. And it's a coincidence, right? Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started to look at more of his things on YouTube, and it's amazing, right, what he does. But what were the things that you learned from traveling with him that surprised you about human beings?
Consistency, I guess I would say. Because there was a lot of humans that want to do what Eric does, or praise Eric in any form, shape or form, or there's people that want to do different things in their lives, like they want to start this or start that. Because I think the recurring theme is people asking how could they change the cycle, right? How could they do more? How could they break out of that cycle? But through that, I really learned that the humans that were really consistent at what they were doing, no matter if it was washing dishes or whatever, they became the best dishwasher. So it really taught me that the sky is the limit. I know it sounds cliche, but yeah, just you can be from anywhere in the world and make something out of where you're from. No matter if you're in Indonesia, if you're in Africa, if you're in Los Angeles, no matter where you are, you can make something out of yourself. That's what I really learned.
And so if you people watching now saying, okay, Eric Thomas, I know his work, he's inspirational, he's transformational, right? And he's come out of a tough situation and he's done something amazing with it, with his gift. I want to change. I want to become someone else. How do I do it? So if there were 3 things that you picked up along the way of how do you do it, consistency, you mentioned once, so don't include that one. Right. So three more things, what would they be?
One of them is stick to the story. Like I feel like we've been trained to consistently change what we're doing or try to reinvent the wheel, as we would say. But I would say going in one direction at one thing. And I know I mentioned consistency, but I think that that's just one thing you really need to do. And you need to have great people around you. And like, for instance, I was in Detroit, and a lot of people that I was around wasn't traveling. They weren't digital nomads. So I had to put myself in a different community, which I did with no money. So it really doesn't take money to do that, to get up and go figure out how you can do it somewhere else. Hostels, you got to really surround yourself around like-minded individuals and people like you know. So just get different perspectives from people that think different than the way you've been taught or your parents taught you to think.
And then so for you along the journey, you know, like going a bit deeper, so what was one of the toughest moments that you faced? What comes into your head, right? The toughest moments that you faced, and how did you overcome it, if you overcame it?
One of the toughest things I faced, I would say, you know, staying a student more than anything. You know, keep telling myself to stay teachable, because the moment that I noticed that I wasn't staying a student, things just fell apart in my reality. So I think I'm still learning as it's going to keep staying a student and know that I don't know, and it's okay to not know. The one thing I do know is that I don't know anything. So just continuing to listen. You know, I got 2 ears and 1 mouth, just using them proportionally.
Love it. So, okay, you know I'm going to dig deeper, right?
I love it.
You know I'm digging deeper. All right, so you said that it fell apart.
Right.
What fell apart, and what were the milestones that you said by fall apart? The reason why I ask is that there's people watching, right? There's no coincidences here, as we know, who may be in a similar situation where they're facing a point where their world is falling apart, right? And they don't know what to do. Maybe they're going to catch this by accident, inverted commas. And maybe they're going to watch it later where it's going to be on replay.
Right.
Maybe they're here in Tropical Nomad now. One of the guys who's just walked in and is watching, right?
Right.
So I think it's really important that we tell the truth.
Right.
What I mean by tell the truth is all of the truth, like the things which scare us the most,
right.
because that's where we can really meet people where they are. We don't dwell there, we don't stay there,
right.
but we meet people where they are, and then we can show them a way out.
Right.
So that's really what's behind the question. So what was falling apart?
Man,
what did that mean for you?
I love that you said it that way, but I believe that falling apart is just acting off of fear, and fear has a lot to do with thinking about the future and the past, which is anxiety, right?
Yeah.
So living in the present moment and acting more out of love. So every time everything fell apart for me, which was I was really broke and living with friends and things like that, and I don't want to say my situation was any worse than anyone else's that is viewing, but I think that by trusting that everything's going to work out and acting out of love, it sounds so cliche once again, but truly just following what feels good and feels right. And even if you can make a quick profit from doing something that it may not feel or not sitting right with you, just choosing to give it all away. Because I actually done that myself. I started off in the corporate world. I was working for Delta Airlines, and I was working with marketing and in-flight services with Delta, and I was making a good amount of income doing that. But the things that they wanted me to do, it didn't sit right with me. And it wasn't any bad thing, but it was just not operating off of my time and my values, which was caring for other humans. So I think that the more you follow your heart, you may not know what to do in life, but you'll get guided the right way. Somehow, like, I know people may look it up on YouTube and see motivational videos about this, but it's so true. Just following what feels good and following the people around you that make you feel good, and shying the people away from you that make you feel bad inside. Like, there's no explanation that needs to be done. Like you said, when we first met, we just know we had to meet. We know we had to connect. It was no words or no big story or anything like that. It was just a feeling that you felt inside. So I felt like I had to be here today, which was feeling, just following that love, you know.
Yeah. It's funny because the question popped in about, like, how did you find that feeling? But, like, just feeling into that, right. Pardon the pun, feeling into it, it's really that simple, right? Does this feel good to me? Like, does this feel like it's gonna, not even future or past, but right now, how does this feel? How does this person feel? And whereas before, maybe I have two kids, right? They're 5 and 7, and two little girls, and I think quite often as adults, right, as parents, we try to, steer and direct our children about, say hello to everybody, go see that guy, go see this guy. Why are you doing that? Why are you saying? But they're picking up on that same feeling, right? This person, we've all got it, right? We're like,
they're like
it's really important time. It's like, I just want to make a really good impression, right? I've got my kids here. Just say hello to that guy. It's the guy I really want to impress for whatever reason, right? And the kid goes up and goes like, and just goes,
blank face.
Nah. And just walks away. It's like, she's not normally like this, right? But at the end of the day, they're actually responding off their own feeling, right? And it hasn't been tainted, it hasn't been directed, it hasn't been driven, or it hasn't been masked in any way. It is what it is, right? So it's being comfortable leaving that how it is, and negotiating what happens afterwards. So I can understand that. It's funny.
100%.
Love it. So then, coming forward a little bit, US, got together, bunch of friends, started on his journey around people like Eric Thomas, incredible seminal figure from the same city, was filming, recording for him, had all of those experiences. I think that through the camera, you get the best, because then you're really super aware of what's going on around you. When you're on stage, I'm a speaker as well, so when you're on stage, you pick up what you pick up, but you can't pick up everything, because you're lights, camera, action, right? So as a cameraman, feeling into it, you get to pick up probably more than he did. So here's a question. If you were in his position, this is just you now, right? Is there anything that you would have done differently if you're in his position?
Ooh. If I was him, or for me?
So this is you,
right,
looking at him with all of those experiences, and then.
Yeah, I would intertwine more traveling, because it's something about getting humans to travel out of their comfort zone. Like, say, like these people in Indonesia that's never been anywhere. It's crazy, because every time I look at them, I'm like, man, you just got to see the world. You got to see London. You got to see Paris. And it's like this energetic understanding and knowledge you get and wisdom you get. So I would say incorporate more traveling and more maybe retreats with people. That's what I would do different. I would bring more people along with me. But he does a great job at what he does. He shows up to places, so I can't knock him for that either. So,
love it, man. love it. And who would you love to meet? Because you strike me as a person, you know, like, again, I felt the vibe immediately.
All right.
But who would you like to meet?
I would like to meet a guy named Peter McKinnon.
And why?
He's an amazing filmmaker. He is a great photographer, and he pays so much, like, such close attention to everything he does in detail with his filmmaking. And people that can keep on inventing new ways to do things always strike me. No matter if it was, you know, someone that keeps inventing a new car that is just better than every car, like a Tesla, or someone that keeps breaking records like a Usain Bolt or something. That impresses me. And I love filmmaking. I love video photography, things in that field, and he's just the best at it. So I would love to meet him.
Thank you, brother. And
what about you? I want to see who you want to meet.
Yeah, it's a great question. who would I really like to meet right now? Maybe Elon Musk just popped in. And you know what? Like, no one's ever asked me that question either. And I'm thinking, like, Elon Musk, really?
I mean, I would like to meet
I'm like, come on, man. But you know what? Yeah, like, I think he's very, like, socially awkward.
Right.
You know, a lot of the guys I've met, much like you, I've traveled a lot and worked in different positions, some 30 different industries that I've forged connections and relationships to. Right. So I've met so many different people, and you know, just that awareness that he has, right? And he is a little bit awkward, but there's so much more going on back there that I'm not even sure if even he's aware of. So I'd love to sit down with him and have a really good chat.
What do you think about Kanye?
Ooh.
He's similar to Elon too. He's kind of awkward, but you know, he gets things done. You know, billionaire.
Yeah, that guy's a bit closer to me. There's a good friend, Cannon. He's the guy who produced all his shows for Victoria's Secrets and Kanye as well, and all these other ones. He's very good friends with him. So at some point, actually, we're probably going to do that. So Cannon, if you're watching, a guy called Cannon Indra Raja, another incredibly creative guy. So we just made that bond. Right? We just made that promise.
Right. We made it
live. That's a promise we're going to make.
Right.
Now, if you had kids. Right, what would be like the most important 2 or 3 values that you'd want them to pick up or inherit from you, and why?
Okay. I would want them to inherit listening. I would want them to inherit being kind, and I would want them to inherit listening to people that make them feel good. Because, and why, it's because I feel like you can never go wrong with those things. Like, even if you're a kid that's super smart, you got all the, I don't know if you've ever been heard or told that question. Like, would you rather a kid that's a brainiac, the smartest kid in the world, or a kid that's just generous and kind? I would always say kind, because a kid that's kind, everyone would pick him up and love him. And you never feel alone. So I think that's one of the best skills or gifts to have, and to listen, because you can really learn, because a lot of times we feel like we know something. I keep saying, but to know something but not to do it is not to know it. So a lot of people can go in that rabbit hole.
Right to that. And another question bounced in there. What was it? It was a good one.
Right.
What was it? So, All right, we'll come back to that,
Okay, cool.
that one there. So, your life now,
Right.
you're here in Bali, in Indonesia. You've got this incredible movement that you've created. You've got a whole bunch of apparel that comes out of it.
Right.
You've got all these other services that you offer,
Right.
helping people to grow and expand and brand, right? What would be, if I asked you, in the next 5 to 10 years, what would be 2 things that you'd really love to see?
Out of the company aspect or my life in general?
Whatever it hits.
Ooh. I would like to see my parents come here to Bali. I don't know, that's random, but I would really like to see that. Another thing, I would like to see thousands of Black Kids Travel members. Yeah, that's something I would like to see. Thousands everywhere. It's crazy, but I was watching a YouTube video earlier today, and one of my favorite channels is called Yes Theory. I actually know these guys back in LA, and they were out in this small island. I can't even remember the name of the island. It was actually the least tourist island in the entire world, and he went to this island, and it was a guy that ran up to him, and the island recognized him. It was these people don't even use YouTube. Most people don't have phones, but someone recognized him in a small island and showed him around this entire island, showed him a great time, and he was just so amazed that someone heard of him in this tiny little island. That's what I want to see, people making a difference from all over the world, you know.
You know, you mentioned your parents, right? And you mentioned those 3 values that for if you had children, what you'd love them to inherit, wouldn't maybe not instill. I'm getting away from the I'm gonna put this into you. Right. More like I'd love you to attract this into your life, right? So of those 3 values, which ones, if any, would you say were present for you growing up?
Kindness. My parents, and not just my parents, but my grandparents, they always instilled me to just be a good person. It was crazy. When I was growing up, I didn't have good grades. Like, I had bad grades in school, but I was always so nice to the teachers that they loved me. And I remember one teacher even passed me, even though I shouldn't have been passed, because she just loved me so much. I used to bring them little gifts and stuff. I was always really persuasive, but I used to bring them gifts and everything, and they loved me. That was just the thing. Like, I just think when you just are good to people, like, they're gonna bring more goodness into you. It doesn't matter if you're religious or whatever, or spiritual. You reap what you sow. Whatever you put out comes back to you. I truly believe into that. So I feel like when you put out that good energy of kindness, and it's almost a close second to listening to, because when you really listen to someone, you see what they need and you can meet that need too. So I think those 2 or 2 things my dad and my mom are really good at doing. Yeah.
And I don't read that often now. I listen and I interview people. That's my form of reading, right? So, next question. I'm laughing because I'm laughing because, okay, as I said before, these questions are not scripted. So what happens is I just sit, listen, and the question comes in and I go with it. And then when it's coming out, I'm laughing. I'm like, I can't ask that. And then next thing I'm asking, I'm like, oh man, I asked that question. I can't believe I did that. So this one isn't bad. It's okay. So if you had like a favorite poem, right, or a favorite passage from a poem, what would it be and why?
This is a poem from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He said, whatever the mind of a man can conceive, it's not just a man, but a mind of a human. Well, whatever the mind of a man can conceive and bring itself to believe, it can achieve. So anything you can think of in your mind or imagine, and you can bring yourself to believe it, you can achieve it. So I always go back to them saying, Jesus walking on water, right? Like, I can't even imagine seeing someone walk on water. I can't, at the moment, I can't believe to that level. But I believe, if I can believe to that level, I'll be walking on water. So I think that's what everything, if people conceive that they want to come to Bali one day and they truly get themselves to believe it by looking at how much it costs to get to Bali, by knowing someone that's in Bali, by looking at how affordable it is being here in Bali, they will achieve something like that.
Love it, brother. Love Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Mama. So now, I think people are building up, people watching, are building up the picture of who you are, right? They get the kindness, they get these values that your parents helped you to attract. No, avoid the word instill, avoid the word brainwash, right? Helped you to attract into your life. and how you, see, when you said, you know, this teacher passed me even though I didn't have the grades, that comes as no surprise to me. Right? Does that come as a surprise to anyone else sitting here? No. You look at him, and it's like, whatever you want, I'll give you. It's got that kind of energy, right? Which I think is really cool. So look, there may be days, right? People might be watching saying, hey, because as we know, like we've been in show business and all the rest of that, like you're always on. People get the idea of what looks easy from the outside. They can get misled and believe that like this thing can just happen naturally all the time for people. Maybe it does for some. But they don't see the work that goes in behind, right? You mentioned Eric Thomas before. You mentioned consistency, which I think is a superpower, 100%. Right? It's a superpower. And that, I agree with you, is one of the master keys, for sure. No doubt about it, right? So on the days, if they exist for you, right? That you wake up, what we call in England, you know, you wake up on the wrong side of bed. We wake up pissed off, upset, like the complete opposite. You know, it's like I hate people. Pissed off, right? What do you do to get back to center?
So I meditate, but not lately. It hasn't been that often. It's just having a great partner around you, or someone that either is friends or it's a girlfriend. It's all of it. It's a mixture between the two for me. But having great people around you that can pick you up. Sometimes I feel really bad. I walk downstairs and my boy Owen, he's just full of energy. And just by me looking at his energy helps pick me up and guide me throughout the day. Even if I'm not feeling too good, he'd be like, man, it's all right. You know, because a lot of times we have these like old human survival instincts to where we feel like we need to look for a enemy or look for like I like to say like back in the day when humans used to run from lions and they used to hunt and gather. It's like we still have that brain. So sometimes I wake up in that element to where like I feel like I have to get something, or I feel like something's just not going right, to where I need to do something. And having those great people around me, they put me back in my center just by letting me know that just come back to the present moment and be here. Everything's good, you know. And it's wild because we were just on a Java trip the other day, like a few days ago, and when we were in Java, our guide, she actually took us to her home village, and we went and met her mom, and it was a small, tiny living space, but she was so happy in this tiny living space, and so happy with the little things that she had around us. And it was rats in the house. It was like just concrete, but I felt so at home just because of her energy. So I feel like just being able to come back to the present moment and just notice that you're just breathing is one thing that helps me along my journey. And having great people around me, like my girlfriend.
Yeah. So love it, man. So here we go. Power versus Force. All right, was a great book years ago. And so if I asked you, because some people here, right, maybe watching, would be in a situation, okay, I get love, I get follow the feeling, but man, I'm in my head, I've got stuff going on, I've got real world problems, real world challenge to deal with. It's COVID, I've lost my job, I've done all these things, I need to put food on the table. There's no food on the table, right? I'm struggling, right? So when I present that situation and say to you, right, power versus force, like, which side, if any, would you fall towards for that person to go forward? Power versus force.
Power.
Why?
That word power is so powerful, first of all. And I think power can go in different directions, which is force. When I think of force, I think of someone really applying some type of pressure. When I think of power, it's just natural ability to get through to something. Like, for instance, my mom, when she had me, she had a lot of power. She had a whole bunch of kids, and it was at a point in time, it was like eight or nine of us in the house at one time, but she still got through it to raise me. That's powerful. And I wouldn't say she used a lot of force in that situation. She couldn't really force it, but by being strong and having that power, really got me to where I am today.
Got it, brother. Love it.
I love the questions.
Man, remember,
it's coming off the brain.
Just
man.
Coming in.
To interview you.
Questions are coming in, brother. Right. Coming in. So, as can be clearly seen, you're a beautiful black man.
Oh, thank you.
Right, and I don't get to ask this question a lot, right? And you know what's coming. So, is there any point in time where being a black man has helped you or hindered you?
Ooh, both. Yes. Hell yeah. Oh my gosh.
Give us some examples, man.
It has helped me in so many ways, just because I don't know what it is, but just by the color of my skin, I just feel so much more comfortable around you, you know. And not saying it helped me, but there's so many people that look at me and they see themselves, and they've been in my shoes. So I knew I've lured towards a lot of people like the Eric Thomases of the world that see a little seed in me and see that I want more. So that's definitely helped me, and it has hurt me at the same time. Like I said, I'm from an area of Detroit, Michigan called Inkster, which is very diverse. As soon as you leave Detroit, it's just one race. It's just white people. In Detroit, it's just black people, and people there are just taught to separate a lot of times. And by moving to a different city when I was growing up, because my dad, he put me in a better area to be around, I noticed that my friends were getting treated better than me in some situations, and they just had it a little easier in some situations. Not saying that people have it easier because of skin color, but yeah. So I think it's been happening my whole life. Yeah, I think there is a judgment that a lot of people have around the world. They may be attracted to a certain skin color, and they may not want to work with you because of your skin color, and you can feel the energy. But when they see who you are and listen to you talk, it's no difference.
Yeah. Now you mentioned better area. What do you mean by that? Better area. You moved to a better area. What do you mean? So
I moved to an area where people traveled. I moved to an area where people went to college. I moved to an area, and I don't say that, I'm not saying that college is better, but meaning leaving the area that they're in a different mindset, where I was exposed to people that were entrepreneurs. I actually started my entrepreneur journey when I was 16. I started a company called Vima, which is a network marketing company, and actually made quite a lot of money when I was 16, which put me in some rooms, you know.
16?
I worked. Yeah, I met with my first mentor. His name was Bob Proctor. He was actually in the secret. Yeah. So I actually went to Bob's house in Toronto. I traveled a little bit around with Bob and his team, was in a program called Thinking into Results with Bob Proctor. So it put me in rooms.
Bob Proctor, Eric Thomas.
Yeah.
My brother, you've been around some people, brother.
Yeah, I've been around some people. And I think that they really believe that they're just people and everybody should be like them. And I feel like that instilled in me also.
So here it is, right? So we do this Clubhouse Room on Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. This time, U.S. time is 4 o'clock Monday on the West Coast, 7 o'clock on the East Coast.
Right.
So last week, 2 weeks ago, I interviewed a guy who's a brother, right?
Right.
Amin or Amin Cooley.
Okay.
You know Amin Cooley?
I don't think I know him. But if I do, you would. You would.
He had a record, an album that outsold Michael Jackson's on Billboard, sold millions of copies.
So I do know.
So he's an artist first. He's also the Black Panther's legacy, right? So he's in charge of that. His uncle started
Bali?
on Clubhouse.
Gotcha.
And so we talk a lot, right? So I'll be talking to him again probably after this. Cool guy. Like, here's the thing, right? So this room that we did, it was a room about unity and equality. Unity and equality. And this is interesting because what attracted me to him was I had this other room. I do room every week. And what I got from him, apart from being this tremendously successful artist, was this understanding that the heart and soul of Black Panther isn't about separation or we're better than this or da-da-da-da. No, it's actually about inclusion, right? It's about seeing us together, right, on the same level, okay? And won't go too deep into that, but here's the thing. So this room that we did, there was one guy another guy from the US, a friend, and for the purposes of this, we'll call him a white American privileged, right? So when he came on, like, these two things is like oil and water. They don't necessarily mix. And so there's this generational trauma. Because I've got a few doctors, PhDs who are on the call as well, and they're all into this, right? And where I got to was, this understanding that before something can be acted upon, where equality and unity can truly be there and exist, philosophically, practically, and so on, there also needs to be a healing. Now, this is not about black now. This is about anything. Jewish, black, white, green, purple, Martians coming down, same thing. There needs to, because it's a generational trauma that's there, right? And once that has been embodied, then it can move on to see equality. I'll bring this together. There's a guy called Richard Harrington, who you would know from here. He was on the show a little while ago. South African, right? He was financially free at 25, I think it was. 25. Beautiful man. Ubuntu, all of that. Ubuntu means, by the way, South Africa, I am because you are. In other words, I am because you are, right? So in other words, we're all connected. And so, but what he says there was that a lot of his friends in South Africa, they're free from a philosophical point of view. They're free from the point of view of being able to interact, go anywhere that they want. They're free financially to earn and create and so on. But mentally, a lot still are not free. So it's just generational trauma once again. So bringing those situations together, and I'll tell you where I sit, but you know where I sit already because you feel it. Yeah, and everyone else, they know where I sit. I don't want to taint the question too much. So where is it that you might sit? So when I say generational trauma, when I say equality, unity, and I talk about the world, right, which includes black people, white people, Germans, and all the rest of that. Like, what comes up for you when I mention that?
A few things came up. One thing was unlearning. And I've been spending a lot of time unlearning what I learned, like, from where I'm from. Unlearning a lot. And another thing that came up was just, I think I sit pretty high, my friends are from all over the world, and they all different colors, green, white, black, yellow. So I think I sit in a place of unity and finding more and more unity by inclusion. To go in with our brand, kids.travel, which came to my mind also, is the Blacksheep. And the Blacksheep to me really just stands for people of every race, every color coming together that feels like they may come from a place of unlearning or a place of outsider tendencies to feel like everyone's included. Just to have an environment where they can come to, because I feel like in this world there's a lot of separation that we know of, and by breaking down those barriers of separation and bringing everybody together and just notice that we're just people, I think also we shouldn't greet each other by, hey, I'm from here, or I'm this, or I'm that. It should just be like, it's the human race. You know what I mean? And that stuff comes together. Like, from when I first met you, we didn't ask each other where we were from. We didn't ask each other a lot of deep questions. It was just a connection that we had, and we didn't have to go deeper than that. Yeah, so I feel like I sit in a harmonious place between unity.
Got it.
I'm gonna answer the question.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, because there's no wrong or right answer or right or wrong answer to this. It's all subjective. It's all perspective. It's all your perspective, right? So, at which age did you start to think like this?
I would have to say 16. Yeah, I feel like I had my spiritual awakening at 16 years old. But things really changed around the age of 18. I did ayahuasca for the first time at 18. And that really opened my eyes to a lot of different perspectives and worlds. So somewhere around that.
So, you know I'm going to ask the question. 16, what was the experience?
The spiritual experience at 16 was having a little bit of money in my pocket, just a little bit. And that allowed me to access traveling more on my terms, because I was fortunate enough to have parents that were traveling. My mom's a pilot. My dad, he used to travel a lot. He had a home in Florida, so I was privileged enough to get around, but not on my terms. And when I actually traveled, one of the first places I went was to Amsterdam, and that opened my mind on a whole nother level that nothing else opened my mind at. Just going to a place and seeing that everyone else is just completely different than what you thought they were going to be like, and things work completely different than how you were raised, and people are friendly. So connection, I would say, was the first spiritual experience, connecting with people from somewhere that wasn't like Michigan or America. Yeah.
And what did you learn from your ayahuasca trip?
Woo. I learned that I don't know anything. Yeah, I'm learning, you know. I'm just learning. That's what I learned from that experience. Just student. 100%. It's to sum it up. Yeah. Have you ever taken psychedelics?
Good question. Some.
Okay. Some.
Yeah, some. Interesting, right? So there's so many different routes and pathways.
Right.
And I don't know, like mine have been physical. You know, at the age of 12, I grew up in 2 children's homes in London from 6 months of age to 18 years of age. And the children's home was pejoratively black, but I was the only black kid at school for the first 13, 14, 15 years. I think there was one other guy and one girl.
Did you experience any racial inequality?
Oh, well, that's coming. So, so here's the thing. So I thought I was white for the first 13, 14 years, basically values, everything, right? And then I failed some exams and then had to go to a college that was the opposite. All black, 99% black, and like 1% white. One of the biggest culture shocks ever. It's like, oh, the heck, what's going on? You know, when you go to school, there's that kid hiding in the corner going like, it's too much, it's too much, it's too much, it's too much. Inside of me, I was like that. But I played a good game because I learned about being an actor very young, right? So I was able to look as though I was, but inside that was all going on. So at the age of 12, there was this brutal attack that was racially inspired, right? And it happened to me and a friend, okay? And so 6 months prior to that, we were in history in the UK studying the 100 Years' War. This was the 100 Years' War that went on in the Middle East, apparently, according to history, someone's history. And yeah, you got that. And this kid sitting next to me put his hand up and goes, miss, yep. 100 Years' War, yep. It can't be the same people fighting. Can it, miss? What you can hear is what I heard. Nothing. So I just end up laughing like everybody else. Because you know what you don't know, you're embarrassed about it. Like, oh, you ridicule. That's the thing. 6 months later, I was in this situation where I thought I could handle it. I was young, 12, but I couldn't. You know, and I ended up not getting a guy ended up getting a beating for me, basically. There's a lot to it, but that's what happened. And I thought that in that situation that I would perform. In my mind, I was like, because I was a strong kid, right? I was like, I know that if this happened to me, I would do this and this and this. And when it happened, I could do nothing but run. And then I was watching it all unfold, and I was this close where I could see it all happening, knowing that if I go that way, I could be dead. If I stay here, maybe I'm going to be called a coward for the rest of my life to myself, right? And then days later, just going through all the anger, the just upset, sadness, all of this. I think it's on day number 3. I had this moment where I realized what the 100 Years' War was all about. And I realized that it wasn't the same people fighting. It's what we pass down from one generation to the next. Theta brainwave state, 0 to 8, all of that stuff.
Right.
What you get programmed is who you become, what you become. And you do the things that RAS, that reticular activating system part of your brain, comes in and then basically sorts and sifts your whole outside world for just those points that back up what you believe you were programmed, not even knowing you're programmed, but what you were programmed with before. Right. So, cut a long story short, that guy who started the whole thing is unaware. Most of the time we're unconscious to our trauma. Right. We're unconscious to our past. Right. We're unconscious to what is lurking within our generational DNA. Epigenetics, all of that side of things. So then I realized that I could hold nothing against that guy, right? And then I realized what my mission was, which was it's always about how can I bring people together? Because I realized right then at 12, I knew that if we divide, then we're weak. Right. And anything that divides us is a divide and conquer. That's what I got. So then I realized that, and again, when you look back over your life, I'm 52. Doesn't mean anything, but I'm 52. Right. And what I realize is that there's so many different points along the way. If I knew what I was doing now then, and had to create the best life possible for me to learn all the things that I needed to learn to become the person that I am right now, I would have chosen the exact background, life, and past that I had. But again, that's true for me. I'm not saying it should be true for you or anyone else. Right. But so at 12, that was one of those moments, one of those seminal moments that something hit me. So I got my breakthroughs physically most of the time. It wasn't that for me. I tried that, but it didn't really agree with me actually. And I find, much like you, I traveled a bit and found myself in all kinds of death-defying situations in which the only logical conclusion of why I survived is an illogical conclusion. So then that's where I learned about there's things which are much larger than me that I'm part of, and I feel that life has always had my back. That's just me. I
feel the same way.
You know what I mean? So so question for you, you said you feel the same way. Why is it that you feel that, do you think?
Because I keep, what I considered before mistakes. I kept making mistakes throughout my life, and I'm here. So I think it's got my back.
Yeah, love it, man.
What they do is cross my fingers.
Right, now let's bring it back to Bali, my brother. Okay. So you said that you're doing this great project for like Bali. Can you go into a little bit more detail of what it is and how people can basically join it or be a part of it or support it?
So we've got this project called Innovate Indonesia, and the first project we have about Innovate Indonesia is 2 orphanages. One called Bali Life Foundation, which is in Uluwatu area, and another one called Hope Children's Home, which is a little north of Canggu. And we took on these 2 orphanages. At first, we didn't know why we were taking on these orphanages. We were just going to visit.
Feels good. Feels good.
We wanted to give food. We were like, all right, let's go up in there and give them a whole bunch of vegan food. That's what we were thinking. We went in there and we got humbled real quick because we left from our beautiful estates that was out in Uluwatu, came over and seen how these kids were living. So it really changed our mission. So we went there, donated a lot. Now we're working on different ways to innovate the place, innovate the mindsets, bringing in people that maybe are doctors, maybe are pilots, maybe are into nursing, whatever it is, videography, yoga teachers, to teach the kids different skills to really expand that psyche of theirs. So not just that, but we're also going to redo the floors and to renovate the walls. So I feel like it's so much to do to instill a better environment for children. And I think the most important thing is just spending time with the kids. So whoever wants to spend time with children or want to give back and to help kids, you definitely can find me at Akil Wade. But I think that's one of the most important things that you can do in life is to help the youth. And they're growing up in a different time than we all grew up in. They have social media. They've got the resources now to see what's available to the world that maybe when I was growing up, I didn't really know what was going on in Germany. But now they do, so helping them get to that point.
Got it, man. Got it. So Akil Wade, that's AKILWADE. And what's the other one? So you got kids.
Oh yes,
Black kids.
Right. So we've got we're innovating kids. We also just got a facility in Bali, which is located not too far from here. It's connected to Warlock in Bali, which will be doing good activities, getting people together to just see how we can make different changes and impacts around Bali, and not just Bali, but Indonesia in whole. We went over to Java. We really seen what these people need and what people want there, and it's so much good that we can do in this world, especially if you're from a different country. Like $7 and what is that, about like €5, €6? It's like 100,000 rupees here, which can feed families for a few days. So really just calling in the communities from everywhere. I come from Hollywood and in California. We did a lot of big spending and big community events where they hold and harness media. So I feel like we have the power here in Bali to really take control of that media and make a lot of change for people that really want to make change in this world, because I feel like a lot of people do deep down, even if they don't know it. They feel like maybe they can't trust those companies that are just wanting their money to donate out in Africa to some starving kids. Like, nah, we're out here really in the trenches doing the work. So yeah, for anybody that wants to get involved with a movement like that, you can definitely find us here at Black Kids Travel.
So Black Kids Travel. Yeah.
Black Kids Travel.
Cool. And so everybody here, so we have a third microphone over there somewhere. Yeah, cool. Now's the time, right? Because I know some of you got questions. Even though you know Akil, probably maybe some things have come up, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that. So now's the time to ask him while he's here, and he has to answer it, right? He's in the spotlight. So just put your hand up. Yeah. So we've got one question over here, and so feel free to ask your question.
Mic coming.
Yeah, so we're just extending out the cable here. So Black Kids Travel, and that's IG, Instagram, and Akil, AKILWADE, Akil Wade, right? These are the ones to check out.
BlackKidsTravel.org. You can go there, BlackKidsTravel.shop.
I couldn't find a .org, thanks, brother.
Oh, see, I got them. BlackKids.travel, got a lot of them.
What we'll do is we'll put those on our on the
Perfect.
Yeah, on the Facebook group, which is Speak Up, one word, Monday group, and then we'll also put it on the Speak Up Monday Instagram one as well. So make sure, I think we had those already there. Yeah, cool. So over to you, darling. Yeah.
Hello. So I know you said that you've traveled to so many different places in the world. Do you mind telling us how many places you've traveled to, and why is it that you chose Bali at this moment to live?
So I've been around to, it's funny, it's around like, I think it's 58 or 60 countries in the world, and I believe I chose Bali to call home.
Hold on a second. Hold up. You can't just brush it off like that. 60 countries, like 60. Like it would take me about a minute to counter that. 60 countries, but you're not including the 52 states of America. No?
Not including.
Just making sure. 60 countries. Okay, just want to.
Okay, well, I am including Puerto Rico, which is a, it's territory of America, but
57. Okay, brother, fine.
Yeah, so through all my travels, it's a lot of countries I did fall in love with, like Israel. I love Israel. I also love Hawaii too, which is in America, but but Bali has this beautiful community, cultural respect about it. Like they have so much tradition when it comes to the Hindus, and if you're Muslim or whatever it is, I feel like these people are just so connected and kind to each other, and that's ultimately why I chose Bali. People make me feel good.
Yeah. It's got something, that's for damn sure, and it hits us all in a different way, isn't it?
100%.
Well, sometimes a different way is the same way.
Why'd you choose Bali?
Yeah. So we were living in Sydney. So me, my partner, my girl, Marina, my baby, as I like to call her, she was born in Jakarta. And we met in Sydney. So I lived in Sydney for 20-something years. And and then we were having a life. So I ran big events, big clubs, successful businesses, but it was a full-on life. And I was kind of coming out of that, but I was still... my ego was still holding on to the trappings of it, right? Trappings. Okay, BMW X5 M. Trappings. Love that car. Great car. Awesome car. As much as a house.
Dealing with the same thing.
It was insane. So I was hanging on to this, but even financially at that time, I wasn't making that, but I kept hold of it like it was my self-esteem crutch. If I got this, I feel successful. Part of me was like that. And so we were running cafes and other businesses by that time. And it was Marina who said, Rob, I think we need to have a pattern interrupt. Often guys, girls, whoever it is, doesn't matter, but when you have your partner, the one that makes sense, who you don't necessarily want to listen to all the time, but that makes sense. It's like, no. You try and do the selective listening.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I take that, but not that bit. No, I'll put that bit aside. I don't need that bit, right? So it was a bit like that. And she said, Rob, I think we should, have a bit of a break from this. And then Bali came up. Now, I'd been to Bali some 15 years prior. Loved it. I was there for a good extended trip. And for me, it had everything that I wanted. So then we literally said, okay, let's do it. And so we went for 2 or 3 weeks, 6 weeks in Bali to see what it was like. Felt it. I said, yep. 3 months later, we moved, everybody. The 2 kids, us, boom. And that was about 4.5 years ago. 4.5 to 5 years ago. Yeah. So that's how it happened. And I love it here, right?
Yeah. So love it.
Yeah, so many different reasons. Now, was there another question?
Good.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you're going to just pull that across if you need to. Yeah.
Okay. So coming from Inkster, Michigan, and we all have in this agreement that we should listen to people that have what we want. Also, myself coming from Inkster, Michigan, and not having family or parents that traveled, someone like you, what would some advice be to a young black kid that could be watching this that doesn't have the people around them to listen to? If you could give anything on that.
Beautiful question, man.
Ooh, I love that question.
Beautiful question.
And to tie into that question, what happened to me was I had a best friend. His name was Caleb back in Detroit area. And he kept sending me these Eric Thomas videos. He kept sending them to me. And I never would open the messages. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to listen to no preacher. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. But the moment I started to listen to him, and at the moment I didn't know that he had what I wanted, and he wasn't physically around me, but by listening to him and hearing his words, it really opened up my perspective to see that you know, there are people that have what I want, and they may not be here right now, but they're out there. And just because, and I know, and that's a great question, because there's a lot of people that may feel like that their surroundings is really bad and yada yada, but I feel like now you have these Facebook communities, and you can find people around you that think the same way you think. Maybe even if it's just one other person, or ask your uncle or grandpa or whoever it is in your family that may know someone that's doing something different. And I feel like that's the advice I would say. Surrounding yourself around people that are different. Maybe you have to meet them from online, or meet them by getting in some community. I was on a football team. My football teammates were cool guys, and they thought a little different than I did, and that exposed me to some guys that I'm still friends with today. One of them is actually here today. But I would say just surrounding yourself around the people that aren't like everyone in your area.
Brother man, if you've got a follow-up question, it's all good. You good?
Great question, thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have a question? If you, yeah, bring it on. By the way, darling, if you have another question, it's okay. Yeah, don't do the like. I've asked one question already. I can't ask. I don't want to monopolize this, because here it is, right? So the thing is this. So this is a collective intelligence that we've got going on here, and a lot of the time people have that question, but are too afraid to ask or don't have the opportunity to ask. So by you getting it and asking it, it's not just for you, it's for somebody else. So that's why when it comes to this, you can't monopolize it unless it's half an hour. So if you want to go back, you can.
How you doing? So I guess my question is more for you. I guess in your everyday life and things you have accomplished in your journey, and I guess you're still accomplished, outside of family, what's the most important thing to you, or what is important to you, or what matters the most in life to you outside of family?
That keeps on changing, actually, and I could probably trace it back, through okay, when I was up until the age of 20, that's a lie, up until the age of 45, top priority was being liked. It's my top priority, right? And it's even more than 45, but I'm embarrassed. It's actually 51, because I only looked at this about 8 weeks ago, which I've just turned 52. So what it is that for a long periods of my life, it was about being liked. That was the winning strategy that I had as I was growing up, because I didn't feel comfortable in my surroundings, right? So therefore, I used to do stuff for other people, create win-win opportunities for everybody else. And what I would get in return would be liked, would be a friendship, right? And that's what I did. And I continued to do that for a very long time. But what I found is that financially it was holding me back. So it's a bit like saying, I'm a man of presence. I create win-win opportunities for everyone effortlessly, and it stopped there. Up until around 4 or 5 weeks ago, where it's like, I'm a man of presence. I create win-win opportunities for everyone effortlessly, including for myself. Which sounds small, but it's huge, and it's not like I didn't earn money, I didn't do well when I was growing up, because I did, but it was being driven by the need to be liked, right? So that is the truth, right? What I would love to add in would be, what you said earlier on. Ultimately, there are still things that I need to make amends for. There's still things that I did that I'm still catching up with in many ways, right? So I've given my word and broken my word, straight up. I look to always, even if it takes me a bit longer, to repair any damage that's been done. But ultimately, the most important thing I can do, and I don't want to say be true to myself, because it's not really what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is, if I can go deep within me and hold that, I believe in abundance, right? If I can hold that the day has been a great day. If I can hold that man of presence that I just told you, which is the way for me to rewire my brain, because my brain has been wired, it's been trained the whole time in so many different areas. Now there's opportunity for me to rewire it in a way that is going to be productive for me, the people around me, and the world, right? I've got a massive vision. So there's 3 answers in there to that one question, but to summarize them up, the first one was to be liked, and that was running for a long time. The second one is about taking personal responsibility. And then the third one is holding this frequency of abundance, but more importantly, of creating win-win opportunities for everyone, including for myself. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Man, I just suddenly forgot I'm supposed to be the guy asking the question. I was there like, and your next question is? It's like, no, man, you're asking great. Oh, yeah, shit, sure, okay, cool, sure.
I can ask one more question.
Sure, brother.
When you said that for a long time, for 50 plus years or 40 since I guess he was 12. So did like the likeness come out of like, or the wanting to be accepted? Did that come out of like insecureness or like some childhood traumas? I think you guys were just speaking on like now looking back at the story or like observing it, like stepping yourself back, like do you know what it was, or is it still like, yeah?
Brother, that's a great question. Part of me is still processing it, I'd say, but what comes up now is wanting to be liked is a self-esteem challenge. Like it's this feeling that I want people to see things as I do. I want to be liked. I want people to like me. That's a self-esteem issue or a self-esteem challenge. So number one, I would say that would be the root cause or the effect of it. The cause of it, yeah, like growing up as I did, there were so many things happening. Like I must have seen over 100 kids come through that children's home because I was always the youngest one. So what would happen is that my case was very rare that a kid from 6 months would go all the way to 18. Really rare. So usually you come in at 10, 12, stay for 3 or 4 years and go. During that time, fostering was becoming quite popular. So people would come in for a year, get fostered and leave. But me and my sister were there the whole time. So I was influenced by so many different people, and I wanted to be like so many different people, but they didn't want me to be like them. And that's the kicker that I didn't get. So I'd want to be like this guy, Lee Burke, right? This guy, Jamaican. My background is Jamaican. I found out recently, right, that my background goes to the Jamaican Maroons. And then the Jamaican Maroons are people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, are all like, okay, it's not my direct, but it's all in the same pool of Jamaican Maroons of my great nanny, grandma, known as the nanny of the Maroons, and these guys were fierce. So there was a guy called Lee Burke, right, Jamaican, short guy, wore a trilby hat, similar, right, and it'd be on like an angle, right, and he'd walk with a cane. Right, with this ornate headpiece that was gold. I don't think it was real gold, but ornate gold-looking headpiece, right? And he would walk with a limp. It wasn't a limp; it was a shuffle, right? It was a shuffle. I wanted to be like this guy. He would smoke spliff. He'd always have this just dropping out his mouth, right? The guy was cool, man. He was short, but he commanded attention and power. Power. He had personal power, right? Which he knew it. I wanted to be like him. But in a way, he didn't want me to be like him. Like, he wanted me to be strong. He wanted to be my own man. And in many ways, I was, right? But he wanted me to be that. So here's the kicker. When I was, I think it's probably about 12, a lot happened when I was 12, man. Jeez. He was playing pool in a pub, London, lots of pubs. And he got into an argument with this guy, fight, ensued, fists. Guy pulled out a gun and shot him in the head. Dead.
12.
Dead. Gone. Right? So I have so many stories. Not all that ended like that. But there was some emotional blackmail stuff There was some deeper spiritual stuff that was going on as well. So all of these situations with people that were my family left their mark on me. You know, so there is all of that to kind of clear, which I've kind of done over the years in many, many ways. But ultimately, I hold myself responsible for everything that's happened. And I don't point the finger at anybody else or try and get rid of that and blame something else. I don't do that. I take it all on myself and find a way through. But I've been very supported, though. People that I haven't known, strangers, much like you and many people here, strangers I've never known, just giving me something of whatever it was I needed at that time to go to the next place. And this is why I know, much like you and people here, that no matter where you put me, I'll always find a way to make it. Like, that's just the way I'm wired, because I've done it so many times, even speaking different languages. So again, if I look back on the person that I was to get to who I've become, it's been perfect, perfectly imperfect. And I wouldn't necessarily want to go through some of that stuff again, by the way. It's not like, oh, no, I love it. No, some of it was horrible, brutal, and it hurt, and I don't want to do it again. So I'm not giving you this naive view, but I'm just saying, though, that all of those things did create the things in me that I see now. Being able to go into a room, I have personal power, I have presence, but all of that came at a price. You know what I mean? I know that I can sit with anyone, and by them being in my presence, they will get uplifted. Now, that's not ego talking. That's just a fact that I've done it so many times. I've been through so many things with so many different experiences, and right? And I know that I'm wired that way. I'm wired to bring people together. I'm wired to help people believe in themselves. I'm wired like that. That's what's happened. It's who I am, incapable of being anything else. And I wouldn't want to be, actually. You know, so all of these things have come into that, whereas now what I do is I use it in so many different places. I have a massive network of people globally. Some are very high up, low, all sorts of things. And you know, with the tourism thing now, here we are in Bali, it's like, well, what is needed now? And for me, it's like, okay, well, I can help tourism boards. I can help operators, you know, drive inbound tourism. That's what I do. Through lots of different strategic partnerships and bringing people together. But tourism, the heart of it is what you know. It's equality and it's unity. That's actually what it is. Because when you're exposed to someone else's culture, no matter what that is, if you are able to find empathy within yourself, you will understand yourself better as a result of becoming known to them. And that's what tourism actually is at its core for me. It's a way to bring us, and I meant what I said earlier on. You know, the thing with Armin Cooley, the reason why we get on so well is because he has the same vision, goes about it in a different way. But it's the same vision, you know, and that's why I love interviewing people like you, and you know, who believe and see, you know, that we are one. We have our differences, which should absolutely be loved, appreciated. Like, I'm not the same as you, I'm not the same as you, I'm different colors, and that's great. But at our core as human beings, there are things that we have in common. We want to be loved, appreciated for who we are, we want to be heard, we want to be seen. All of these things, no matter what our color, the color of our skin, we all have, and that's where I go. To answer the question earlier on, which I didn't answer, right? That's where I go, and that's how I see it. But as this room I'm in, because in my head still, but there does need to be healing for black people, especially in the US. From that one room, woo, mamma mia, what I felt, it's like, whoa, okay. And then there has to be healing within there. Then it can come out. You know, so again, brother, somewhere in there was the answer to your question. Yeah. But look, but here's the thing: it's not even though this is a Q&A, it's not even about the question. It's about what it evokes within you. It's what it triggers in with you. Because whatever is triggered is what's supposed to come up and come out, and that's what this is all really about. So the Q&A is actually it's a bit of a lie. We ask questions because to see what is triggered and what comes up. Yeah, and that's what's supposed to be shared. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, brother. Mama. So secondary question, my brother. Yeah.
So this question is for both of you. Akil, there was a thing that you mentioned about unlearning, and you're speaking of wiring, and at a certain point for you, you said that for a good amount of your time in your life, you thought that you were white. And something that I feel is that we don't know who we are. A lot of people in this world know who they are, and unlearning and deprogramming to remember and to recreate our lives, there's no one answer, I know that, but if there was a 3-step like tool or like outlet for someone to go, what would you say?
My brother, love that question. So I go first, and then you back it up. So, very first thing for me is about quietening the mind. It's the first thing, because there's so much bullshit that we're fed, right, from all the different media, mediums, other people, all the rest of that. So it's almost a case of saying, you know, like, we're so much out there that we don't even know what's in here. Step 2, Richard Harrington, who I love. Another one of the things I love about him is that, you know, I am not my emotions. I am not my fears. I have them, but that's not who I am. Right? Who I am is pure spirit. So the meditation gives me an access into seeing that I'm spirit. Because at the end of the day, when you break everything down into quantum mechanics and physics and all the rest of that, we're dust. Floating with lots of space between us, floating around. Right? So we're not even real, actually. Right? So they're the first 2 things. And then what I would put in there, and this is about black people and generational trauma, which I think is where your question is really going. You know, I am a huge proponent of empathy. Not sympathy, but empathy. So what's the difference? So empathy is me, you know, understanding that if I had the same upbringing as that person did, with the understandings and the knowledge and the actions that happened to them, I would respond in exactly the same way, if not worse, than what they've done to me right here, right now. So that's empathy. Sympathy is like, I feel sorry for that guy, he had such a bad upbringing. That's sympathy. Empathy is putting yourself in their shoes, saying, well, how could I be any different? How could I be any different if I grew up with their ideologies, their viewpoints, their programming? How could I be different, right? So, but still, within that, I see now more that there does need to be a healing, man. You know, like, we do need to heal as well. And by healing, you know, there are powerful, positive ways to release trauma. I am not a proponent of violence, but for some people that's the way that they want to process it. But there has to be a way that healing happens. For black people, from what I'm relating to with the room and but those 2 other things to me are the key. That's really where it is. But the third one in there is something that's talking directly to that topic. Yeah, brother. And with that meditation, I'll finish in a second. With that meditation, what it gives me is a heightened awareness and a sense of who I am and who I am not, actually. Right? And if I can sit in that place, none of this even, I don't want to say none of it matters, because it does matter, because it's part of our experience, but what I'm saying is that I just see it from a different perspective. Yeah, and that is one of unity. Yeah.
I love that. I would say pay attention. That's one of the biggest things to help you unlearn anything. Pay attention to what makes you feel good, but pay attention to what's not making you feel good. For so long, for me, like on social media, for instance, I was following so many people that I don't know why I was following them, and I was seeing their messages that didn't really make me feel good every day, and that was not helping me learn new qualities that I wanted to get closer to. So I would say pay attention to the things you're listening to. The music you're listening to is a big thing, especially if you're at a vulnerable place that you can't listen to that music. Maybe take a little detox of things that aren't uplifting. So put yourselves in environments that lift you higher in every aspect, from music, from a club or a band, whatever you're a part of, from what you're looking at, what you're watching on YouTube, whatever it is. Like, just surround yourself around things that make you feel good. I think it's the best way to start learning good, and you'll unlearn the negative things if you stop surrounding yourself around those negative things.
Love it, man.
Sounds pretty good.
Man, questions, bring them. Remember, this is the first time we've spoken.
Right.
Love it.
There we go.
There you are.
Yeah. Okay, so this is for the listener that's hanging on by a thread. So what I mean by, we have a lot of digital nomads, we have a lot of small business owners, and with depression being on an all-time high, social media booming and going crazy, and we got people comparing themselves and trying to get an idea of what success looks like for them. For the viewer that's really hanging by a thread and just wants to throw in the towel and give it up, what would be 2 things, and I say 2 things for a reason, 2 things that you would just tell them right here, right now, to tell them to keep going and not turn back and just eradicate all of those disbelief, all the, the shortcomings, everything, and just keep pushing? What would be 2 things? This is for both of you. So, yeah.
Great question, brother. I go first or you go first?
Shoot, you go first.
All right, done. Well, great question. The first thing, Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas. So if someone's holding on by a thread, if they've got data on their phone, right, or can go to a Wi-Fi hotspot, there's a bunch of names I will give them to listen to. Eric, depending on where they are, right, maybe color, background, ethnicity, all of that, I would choose one that I feel would be more in alignment with where they are, right? But it's what you listen to, and I'll put them on like a diet of people like Eric, because what we listen to, 2 ears, 1 mouth, right, makes a huge difference to how we show up for ourselves. Right? So the first thing I would say is change who you're listening to. The second thing is, again, we sort of covered it, is who you hanging around. Because who you hang around with is everything as well. So those 2 things, that's what I do. And as a number 3, which is kind of fused throughout, is learn how to meditate. Learn how to quieten your mind. So take the word meditate out of it. Learn how to quieten your mind. Because by learning how to quieten your mind, then you can start to listen to what's coming this way and what's going that way.
Shoot.
Great question, brother.
Yeah, man, I would pretty much say the same thing, especially keying on that, who do you listen to. I think that's step number 1, rule number 1. Listen to people that are giving you a certain message. That's a message you probably will regurgitate. And going over to what you were saying, like the things that you're hearing, the people you're around. Like, I know you probably heard how they say 10 smokers. Like, if you're hanging around 10 people that smoke cigarettes, you'll probably be the 11th. And I truly believe that. So I feel like if you're hanging around 5 people that are just full of life and motivated and they want better things, like, that's just what will naturally come upon you. It'll get you out of that funk. So,
you know,
you were listening.
Sorry. Your mean forgiveness does 2, man. At least give us 3, brother. Come on. Because the other one, which I forgot, is ask for help. Ask for help, because the number one, especially for men, sorry guys, calling it out, calling it as it is. You can disagree with me, I'm fine with that. But from my experience, men, and I include myself, find it very difficult to reach out for help to someone else because they think that it's beneath them or they should this. The shoulds. I shouldn't be in a situation. I shouldn't have to reach out for people. I shouldn't. All of that male bullshit that we carry around with us, like, I don't need help, all of this stuff. So reaching out for help. And I've reached out for help numerous times, to people, and I'm glad that I did, actually, looking back. It's like, man, I've done it. Because I could bullshit myself and say, I got this. All right, but I didn't have it. I didn't. So learning to reach out, I think, is very important.
Now, with that helpful advice, what's one thing that you would say to fire them up so they can wake up the next day and take it on and start their journey to move in a better direction? It's for both of you guys.
So there's a lady called Lisa Nichols, right? Black woman of color, right? It doesn't matter, but I just wanted to say that. Woman of color. Right. We were here earlier on, and I was kind of going like this, and people looking at me going so look, I'm normally like this. I'm actually holding it down when I'm not holding it back. So every now and again, it just comes up. Hold it back, right? So Lisa Nichols is a motivational speaker as well. Amazing woman, and she didn't invent it, I don't believe, but she's very well known for it, and it's called the mirror exercise. The mirror exercise. So what you do is that you find a mirror, right, and there's 3 statements, right, and this is about reprogramming the brain. So what do I mean by reprogramming the brain? So it's a bit like this. So when we wake up in the morning, you probably get up the same side of bed. You probably, when you go and brush your teeth, with the same hand. When you wash your face, you probably wash it the same way. When you have a shower, you probably soap up the same way and go in the same order. When you wash your hair, you probably wash your hair in the same way. You've been programmed, right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying you've been programmed, right? And programming in general is repetition. And the deepest programming is repetition with emotion. Right? So, for example, if I get sad and I'm upset and I eat chocolate, right? There's emotion there. And let's say I get upset a lot because I choose really bad men or whatever it might be, right? So I keep getting this, and I reach for the ice cream, I reach for the chocolate. This is programming. We're programming ourselves to do this time and time again. So, Lisa Nichols, mirror exercise. We're reprogramming ourselves for our greater good. Okay, so there's 3 things. So the first one is, okay, firstly, everyone knows what the Superman pose or the warrior pose is. There you go. Hands on your hips. Stand up like this.
Oh, man, it make it feel so good.
Yeah, right. There you go. Hands on your hips. Do you feel it? Right. So that's the warrior pose, and it's been proven scientifically by someone, I don't remember who it was, that by standing in that pose for more than 2 minutes, it rewires the chemistry of your body and your emotions. It will bring you up. No matter where you are, it will bring you up. So standing for 2 minutes in that alone will already raise your level and frequency of vibration and understanding. Very powerful. So now we're going to go deeper. So now you're looking at yourself in the mirror, which will feel weird unless you like looking at yourself in the mirror. That's okay. Not judging you. So what happens then is that you look at yourself in the mirror, there's 3 things that you say, and you say them, you repeat them out loud. So the first thing is you say your name. Rob, for me. Rob, the first statement is, Rob, I am proud of you for. Okay? Now, this can be something small or something huge, right? It can be as small as, Rob, I'm proud of you for getting out of bed today. Right? Or it could be a bit deeper. Rob, I'm proud of you for spending time with your daughters and being there for them, quality time. 7 times though, that's the rule, 7 times. So you have to think of 7 things, and you can't list them. Some of you are like, I've got that efficiency mindset, right? Rob, I'm proud of you for 7 done. No. Right. Rob, I'm proud of you for 1. Rob, I'm proud of you for 2, and so on. Okay, boom. 7. The next one is, you're still in warrior pose, still looking at yourself in the mirror. The second one is, Rob, I forgive you for. Rob, I forgive you for. This one is huge. Because the reason most of the time why we don't achieve the things that we want to achieve is because we are anchoring our own success like a boat to the bottom of the ocean. So what does that mean? I'm in a sailboat, not under motor. I'm going for a beautiful, here in Bali, going for a beautiful island, Lombok or whatever it is, right? And I'm sailing on my way, but then I've got the anchor that's in the water and it's holding me back. So I'm not making any headway, but I'm pointing in the right direction, but I'm making no headway. That is guilt. That's what it does. So no matter what you've done, so with the 12 years of age, I didn't do what I thought I would do in that situation. I wasn't strong enough, right? I had to forgive myself for that. Because if I didn't, it will still be anchoring me back right now as I speak. So the Rob, I forgive you for, and remember your name, you insert your name, is super important. So Rob, I forgive you for whatever it might be, something shallow or something deep. Something that happened recently or something that happened a long time ago. Doesn't matter. So Rob, I forgive you for. And the last one is, Rob, I commit to you that. Now that commitment is a declaration saying, I commit to you that I will spend at least 5 minutes today, I keep talking about my daughters, playing, easy one to remember. Rob, I commit to you that I will spend at least 5 minutes today spending quality time with my girl and my kids. Without the phone, without anything around me. Boom. Right? So these are seven things, right? So this exercise is extremely powerful, and just remember, standing in that pose for 2 minutes alone will already raise the frequency and chemistry of your body already, right? So it will lift your mood already. And then when you insert those things for real over time, it transforms your identity. Remember, your identity is who you think you are, right? Yeah. So that's what I would answer your question with, brother. Great question.
I love that. I just like to dance. I like to get goofy. That gets me going.
Love it. Love it, man. Love it. Whichever one works for you, go for it. And that's the thing. Like, there's no right or wrong, because for some people watching, they'll relate more to that.
Right.
For other people watching, they'll relate more to that. So it's powerful. Now, any other questions? We're good. All right. So how we begin to close the show is we don't close yet. So in about 2 minutes' time, then you have time to think. Anything that is left for you to say, it might be reiterating something that you've said already, right? Give yourself a plug for sure, right? Remind them. Or it might be something else. But you have the time and space to do it. Then after that, we'll close it. Okay? So you've got 2 minutes. So for those of you watching there, thank you for watching, right? Now, this one I feel like was pretty long, probably 2 hours, I'm guessing. I can feel it's about 2 hours, which is cool. So feel free to share this. If you're watching this either live or if it comes to replay, there may be someone who may need to hear this, and you know who they are, right? We all kind of know. We just don't have the balls to share it sometimes. Have the balls, have the courage to share it, because at the end of the day, being a stand for other people, being an unreasonable stand for other people is really important and really powerful. And it's what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to help support each other, actually. That's how we're kind of designed as human beings, right? So now, as you know, we've got 3 streams every week. So 6:30 here at Tropical Nomad. Thank you to Ichi, Guzman, and Brother Ayub today for doing all the back Tekka house. Love you guys. And that's that. And then obviously tomorrow, so that's Tuesday morning for those in Bali or in this Asia Pacific region, 7 a.m. GMT +8, we've got Clubhouse. Tomorrow is an incredible lady, a single mum who's changing the world, transforming the world in a powerful, positive, impactful way. and her name's Vanessa Saraceno. So she'll be there tomorrow, and you can find the details, Speak Up Monday Club on Clubhouse. You'll find us there. Then on Wednesday, we either have a replay or we have another interview. This week will be a replay of Celine DaCosta, who's she's a person who helps brands and people find their story from a PR perspective, kind of what you do actually, from a PR perspective and brand, and helps you to roll out that story, be consistent across all your platforms and consistent over your life and have great success. So that will be a replay that we'll do on Wednesday, and you'll find this on the stories of Speak Up Monday group and also Robert Ian Bonnick on mine that you might be watching this on already. And in the meantime, all I would say is that, inspiration is caught, not taught. Inspiration is caught, not taught. Once more, inspiration is caught, not taught. So if you've caught some inspiration, writing it down, creating a plan of how to use it, the chances are that you'll become a lot more likely to have success using it and implementing it in your life. So if there's something that hung with you tonight, just quickly write it down, or get out your phone, do a voice note, right? Because it's something that you're supposed to get, something that you're supposed to pay attention to, right? That's why you're watching it. So lots of love to you, everyone who showed up here. Thank you to the studio audience who came. Respect. Thank you to you, my brother. It's. I'm laughing because again, if you're just tuning in, I don't even know this guy. Now I do. Now I feel like I do. Right. But before we sat down, all I went on was what you were saying about it just felt good. And I go a lot upon that energy and vibe with people anyway, right? It's what's kept me in the black, for one of you of the financial, in the black, not the red, right? So finding that color. Bring it in, baby. So yeah, my man, thank you for being honest and stepping up without really knowing what you'd be in for.
Love it.
But man, you shared some really important things that I'm sure that people will feel and be inspired by, right? And thank you for some of those great questions as well from everybody. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. My brother, over to you.
Okay. So I guess the last thing I would say is reach out. I spent so much of my life and time, I haven't been living that long, but through my life, scared, I would say, or fearful to reach out to people, and that changes everything. Just reaching out, it makes a stronger community. It makes you closer to getting what you want by reaching out to people that have what you want. Sometimes I know you may see someone that you want to be like, and they may be a superstar, but reaching out to them, they may see it and it just give you that dream that you're looking for. So, and even to me, if anybody's seeing this and they feel like they have some feedback to give to me and to inspire me in some way or help me by connecting with someone, I would love to collab, or if I can help you in any way. So, just last note. Thank you so much for bringing me on to talk to this audience, and everybody, thank you for being here.
This is coming in. So if anyone knows anyone and thinks that they'll be a great guest because they've got so much to offer, hit me up. Speak Up Monday group on Facebook. Speak Up Monday. Also Instagram, send me a DM. Now, because you didn't do it, I'm going to do it. So if people want to reach out to this beautiful man and his beautiful crew, so Akil Wade, so AKILWADE, right, on Instagram, you're getting there, and
Kids Travel.
Black
Kids
Travel.
We're on Instagram. It's the easiest way to find us. But if you're not on Instagram, you can find us at blackkidstravel.org. It's the easiest way to get to us.
Love it. Round of applause, guys. Thank you so much, Chris. My brother.